My name's Adam Manaka and I'm the Financial Controller for Hi-Tech Oils. With our national capacity, we can now service Australian companies nationwide. Of late, we have now expanded into the New Zealand market. Here at Hi-Tech Oils, we receive premium base oils and premium additive packs. Together, with our highly trained staff, we manufacture over 500 premium quality products. Hi-Tech Oils is Australian made and Australian owned.
Thurxton in Hampshire, brilliant weather, round 7 of the Hyundai Construction Equipment BritishSidecar Championship. We're on the grid where very shortly they'll be forming up for race 1. First of 3 races on the programme. Kershaw's lead the table, but the 600s round here are remarkably and surprisingly quick. Can they gain places in the points? Well, it's an impressive lead, isn't it? 3.36, look at that. Well, he can't wrap it up here because we've got Cadwell and double points at Brands, but 3 races will help. Bryan, Stevens and Horsepole. Stevens is really playing catch-up and he's got his mojo back. In the 600 Cup, he sits second behind Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson, but they look like champions designate. Very hot here. It's pole position for Steve Kershaw and Stuart Clark. A big crowd always here at Thruxton for the 3 races ahead of us. And number 34, the Christies there. Adam and Tom Christie, the twins, celebrating their 21st birthday on Monday. 8 laps, that's about as far as you want to go around here as well, I can tell you, because it's very, very hard work for passengers. The lights come in at the top left of your screen, and the lights go out, and when they go out, we're away. And look at the Birchells in the middle of the pack. They're moving through in front of Todd Ellis and Charlie Richardson. We're on board with them, but the Birchells have blocked their view. Tom's antics on the back, that's the only thing they're looking at the moment. Into the complex they go. Campbell, Cobb and Seagrave. The scene of what was a huge accident here last year. Good to see Ben Holland back this weekend as well. Local ground for him. Local ground for the lap record holders and the race leaders at the moment, Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood, who set 1:17.507 in 2015 here on the 1000cc bike. I don't think they're going to get near that with a 600. We shall see. Will Kershaw do the lap record? He's in second place at the moment. The number 29, Sierra's leader, 12 victories under his belt coming here to Thruxton, and with 3 races on the programme, is he going to go away with 15 wins? We shall see. I think the Birchells might have something to say about that, but at the moment it's Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood doing a great job. The first 4 though breaking away. Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson, oh dear, that lead has gone already, but they're fighting back, snaking on the brakes as they come into the chicane. Stevens and Charwood. There, Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence, number 49 on the Driver Wolf BMW. They're up from Marlborough and Basingstoke respectively. Good to see them on their local track going well. These 4. Lovelock always goes well. It would be good to see him if he can scrape the funds together to put a 600 bike together over the winter, then he will do a full 2019 campaign. A good ride here will inspire him, I'm sure. Behind him, we've got Gary Bryan and Phil Hyde, who is so strong as well in the championship. Gary Bryan, who had that finger accident with a lawnmower, then went off and did 2 brilliant races in the Isle of Man TT. The Birchells, though, still in third. No, they're not. They're in second. Through on the inside they go. Underneath, Ricky and Ryan. The Quattros plant JG Speedfit Kawasaki, they're looking strong. 2 600s. The 600 Yamaha against a 600 Kawasaki. But at the front, it's the ZX-10R, the 1000cc bike of the championship leaders and the champions designate, I have to say. Kershaw and Clark then the Birchells. Then in third place now, Ricky and Ryan, having led in the early stages, but I can't really see the 600s winding in this big bike, although they're not getting away. It's a rough surface here. There's a lot of tyre degradation, and with 1000cc shoving out all those horses at the back wheel, this is Gary Horsepole going underneath Andy Peach and Ken Edwards, but Andy Peach having none of it. He might be on a sluggish bike, but he's certainly not sluggish when it comes to corner speed. Sliding it sideways, Roger Lovelock. There goes Gary Bryan. There, Rob Biggs and Jerome Schmitz. Then the crest is number 34. There, the yellow helmets of Ben Holland and Lee Watson. And they are ahead of Simon Gilbert and young Jack Tritton. Ben Holland on the 600 is going really, really well. He had an outing at Brands just to make sure he could get the thing round. And I tell you what, he hasn't lost it. He knows how to ride. Still on board with Horsepole, who has now got the better of Peach and made it stick. Birchall, the Birchall brothers, in fact, closing in the race leaders. So Kershaw and Clark on the Santander Salt Molson tyre bike with help from Express Tyres of Lockerbie. So many sponsors involved in this, but it's an essential part of going racing, of course. There's no earthly way these boys could race without. But look at this, the Birchalls, with the Mitchells of Mansfield Yamaha, on which they won the 2017 World Championship. They're right on the back now of the race leaders. Into the complex, and broken the toe from Ricky Stevens. Are they going to make it past? Well, on lap 6 of 8, we're at 3/4 distance. 8 laps might not seem a long way around here, but it's a long, long track, and it's the fastest circuit on the British Superbike calendar, and therefore the fastest circuit on the British Sidecar Championship calendar. The view from Stuart Clark's office, looking back, and what does he see but Ben and Tom Birchall going through on the inside as they go round the back into Church, and then round Church and up this long, long climb of Woodham Hill, which is not a straight, it goes left. Once they get round here and the long climb up the hill, it's always very difficult to identify just where these guys are, just as it's difficult for the riders to pick their lines. You can see the choice of lines. Birchall's then on the inside of Kershaw and going through. Ben and Tom Birchall taking the lead here. This is incredible. Race 1 then of 3 at Thruxton, and the crowd have just witnessed a 600 go past Kershaw, and Ricky Stevens fancies a bit of it. He and Ryan Charwood have been getting closer. Their mojo is well and truly back, and they fancy some of this action. Birchalls are away. This is impressive, impressive stuff. Now, if Stuart Clark looks back over his shoulder, he can see that the Quattro Plant changing speed for Kawasaki of Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood is looming large. Birchalls seem to have the measure of this. It's looking good. Half a second the gap now. Ricky Stevens looking right, looking left. The Birchalls seemingly have this under control, and there must be something wrong surely with either the power or the rear tyre of the big Kawasaki, because it's not getting away from Ricky Stevens at all. Just there, you could just see it ease away at that instant, but generally speaking, all does not appear to be well at the complex on the final lap. Here we go then. Is it going to be a checkered flag for the Birchalls? Yes, it is. And victory in race 1 here at Thruxton. That is amazing stuff. Very impressive indeed. A solitary 4th place for Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson. And look at this. Roger Lovelock is holding off Gary Bryan. I nearly said Gary Lovelock, but Gary Bryan and Phil Hyde, stalwarts in this game, and what a brilliant, brilliant result for them. They were 6th, Lovelock 5th. Victory though. Birchalls, Kershaw and Stevens, that is the podium. Stevens and Charwood will be thrilled with that ahead of Ellis, their big 600 rivals. And further down the order, Gray, Guy, Peach, you can see he got points for his efforts. Final point going to Nev Jones.
Really means a lot, that does, you know, to be able to get this bike on the top step and against the 1000 cc's. It's something that we've been campaigning for a long time, you know, and it's just showing how good they are. I really thought we'd struggle here with it being such a fast track, but yeah, the bike's flying, and Craig Fitzpatrick's helped us a lot over the weekend, just chipping away, and yeah, great roll on the next one.
Huge crowd here enjoying this in the sun here at Thurxton, and we have a reverse grid situation for race 2, and this is how they lined up. So the top 5 rows reverse. So on pole position we have Gary Horsepole alongside the Christies, and then you could see Simon Gilbert tucked in behind. Gary Bryan was there on row 3. Rob Biggs had a really good bird's eye view of everyone moving through. The big outfits were really quite powerful, and he could see Todd Ellis go by there. He could see Simon Gilbert getting away. Through went Kershaw, through went Ricky Stevens, and alongside came the Birchall brothers, and they were charging hard. And the first lap always takes a little while for people to sort themselves out, but interesting it was. It always is. Kershaw, though, went past Christie. You can see in the back there Simon Gilbert and Jack Tritton. They were fighting hard, and his teammate Todd Ellis very quickly came under the Kershaw hammer. Gary Horsepole, though, number 32, he and Jimmy Connell were always very strong from a reverse grid situation. Ben Birchall, not quite so good, but a little bit of a kiss on Rick Lawrence as they went through underneath Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence, but of course, because they'd had such a strong finish, they weren't that far down the grid. The BMW is quick, though. Kershaw was pushing hard, and he was very quickly on the back of the breakaway Gary Bryan and Phil Hyde, who made a lot of hay while the sun was shining here. The Birchalls had less success fighting through the traffic, it's fair to say, because the big engine of Kershaw carried him through. Very quickly he went underneath Gary Bryan to assume control at the front. Gary Bryan found himself then in second, but very quickly people were climbing all over the back of him. Ricky Stevens continued his form here and very quickly got past Simon Gilbert. The big engines then were slipping back further down the order, and the established stars having more fun at the front. Big rivalry between the Mitchells of Mansfield, Birchall brothers, and Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson, but the reigning world champions were very quickly by. And once past Gary Bryan, they then set off after the race leaders. Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood were the next to dispatch Gary Bryan, and they had Todd Ellis in their sights. Were they able to get past? Well, they certainly went through on the brakes and relegated Todd Ellis. It was Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood then making another move through. So this race was nip and tuck all the way. Rob Biggs and Jerome Schmidt saw an awful lot of the action, but got involved in a fair amount of it themselves as well, having a very good ride on the Taurus Tools Honda. Their bike probably one of the prettiest out there, and it was indeed checkered flag this time, so a reversal of roles, and it was Birchall's who got second, Kershaw the win, and another final step on the podium for Stevens and Charwood. A spin from the Christie brothers saw Adam deposited on the tarmac, and Rob Biggs was one of those who profited ahead of Gary Horsepole and Ian Guy and Jed Gilmore Brady. So there you can see it. Kershaw then nearly 4 seconds that time from Birchall, Stevens, Ellis and Bryan. What a great race that was. Lovelock and Lawrence another 6th ahead of a fine 5th for Rob Biggs. Further down the order, the final point went to Kevin Cable and Guy Pawsey. The third and final race here at Thurxton. I can tell you it's hot. It's 2:15 in the afternoon. The track temperature is hovering around 40. A massive crowd here. We've got a reverse grid situation which puts Simon Gilbert and Jack Tritton on the Draper Racing Yamaha on pole position. Ian Guy and Jed Gilmore Brady on that very pretty black bike. They're there completing the front row. We've had Kershaw and Clark take a win. We've had the Birchall brothers take a win. It's a mixed up grid, very hot, can't wait. Well, reverse grid again. We know what happens. The fast guys will be coming through, but it's Simon Gilbert, Jack Tritton on pole position alongside Ian Guy as well. Fantastic crowd here. They absolutely love their sidecar racing here at Thurxton, and why wouldn't they? 8 more laps then, and it's going to be frantic stuff. It always is with a reverse grid. So let's see then what Simon Gilbert can do. He's been going very, very well with that aged Draper Tools Yamaha, I can tell you. But there he goes. Draper Racing Yamaha through into the lead. Horsepole going well, and with him as well, I could see that brilliant outfit of Phil Hyde's back end there. He and Gary Bryan going so very well indeed. Todd Ellis, that's his stepfather ahead, going underneath. Gary Horsepole, can he make it stick here? He and Jimmy Connell have been going well. 5th in the championship when they came here. Don't want to lose that. Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood fighting through. The Birchells, oh dear, that's, oh, I shouldn't, that's Sean Hilditch. Sean and Anthony Hilditch, father and son, upside down. The Marshal crashed and fell in a big heap. Should not denigrate the Orange Army. They do an absolutely brilliant job, the Marshals here at British Superbike Racing all weekend, but that little one caught us by surprise, just as it caught him by surprise, on board with Kershaw and Clark then, flying past Ian Guy and Jed Pillmore-Brady on their Suzuki. But Simon Gilbert and Jack Tritton have got it going ahead of Gary Bryan and Phil Hyde. Right there in the back, Todd Ellis having a good look. Kershaw then looking good, going past Horsepole, pretty good. He's got to try and get some space between him and Birchells. He knows how quick they are, and where are they? They are a significant way back. We're on board with them right now. Ben and Tom Birchall then on the Mitchells of Mansfield Yamaha. And looking back, alongside they go, that's Todd Ellis, Chaz Richardson, there's Gary Bryan. Charlie Richardson looked over his shoulder there and he saw the Mitchells of Mansfield bike come through, and now Ricky Stevens having a really good push as well. He's past Todd Ellis. Is he past Gary Bryan? Yes, he is. Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood then going really, really hard at it here. But Ellis back again. He and Chaz Richardson do not want to give way to the Quattro-Planche Changing Speed Fit Kawasaki. Gary Bryan, Phil Hyde, the 600 slides underneath them. These two outfits then, first and second in the 600cc Cup standings. Gary Bryan and Phil Hyde hanging on grimly. They're sitting strongly at the top end of the main championship. Third place for coming here. Are they going to be third when they leave? Kershaw and Clark, us with Ellis, and look at Birchells and Simon Gilbert alongside, and now Birchells on the inside of Steve Kershaw and going through. Steve Kershaw then has had to give second best again to Ben and Tom Birchall. This is absolutely amazing stuff. Fighting back alongside finish straight. The big 1000cc bike punches ahead. Kershaw and Clark on a mission here. Look at this. The Birchells then in second place, but they know they can pull the wool over the eyes of the big bike. They've already done it once in race 1. Kershaw levelled the score in race 2, but Simon Gilbert, what a fantastic ride he's having for Draper Racing. Ricky Stevens alongside Todd Ellis. These two at it, nip and tuck. Is there anywhere for Ellis to go? No, there isn't. On the long climb round here again, he's got in front again of Ricky Stevens. A fantastic battle between these two 600s, and Simon Gilbert right in the mix. He and Jack Tritton on the number 51 bike is pushing Ricky Stevens wide. He's having to go the long way round. Can he do anything about it? On board with Rob Biggs and Jerome Schmitz now. On the Taurus Tools LCR Honda, they're fighting with Andy Peach and Ken Edwards. And on the long climb up, it's Ellis. And right with him now is Ricky Stevens. They're side by side. There's not quite contact. They're trying to get two into one here. There is contact now. They're across the chicane. They're across the tarmac. There was a coming together there. And there's a wheel arch. A wheel arch has gone. Oh dear. Todd Ellis has lost his wheel arch. It flies off into the wind. That'll be it. What happened? Ricky Stevens raised the sidecar wheel a little bit, but they were trying to get through there together, and that let Gary Bryan go through as well. Horsepole and Connell, well, Ellis retiring out of the race. This is a real drama here, and the back tyre of Simon Gilbert moving all over the place now. because he is trying to fend off a spirited attack from Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charlwood. 600 plays 1,000. Look at that big, fat, slick tyre. And look at the sky. Not a cloud in the sky here. And it is hot, hot, hot. Trust me. Really, really blistering weather here at Thurxton. And there's the middle of Sunday afternoon. No wonder these boys are working hard. Simon Gilbert on the back now, and he's got his hands full with Gary Bryan and Phil Hyde. And they move their 1000cc Kawasaki past the R1 Yamaha, the Screamer engine, I remind you, not Big Bang. So it's a 2008 engine. The Big Bang engine not suited to sidecar racing at all, and we are on the penultimate lap. That lap record of Stevens and Charlwood is intact. This outfit thought it might get close, but it hasn't. It's still a second shy of it. And on the final lap, Kershaw and Clark then with a second victory here at Thurxton, on their way. I won't put the commentator's curse on them, but they're marching on to what looks an impressive 2-1 against Ben and Tom Birchall, who will be very pleased with their showing this weekend. What a great, great ride they've had. Kershaw and Clark then marching on, not far to go now, up the top and through to the chicane. The right-left flick, and the checkered flag is in sight on this final lap. Well, it was action all the way down the line, wasn't it? Goodness me, my voice held out. And there's the checkered flag then. Victory it is. So who's going to grab second? Ben and Tom Birchall. Thumbs up from Tom to the pit wall and the crew there. But double victory here at Thurxton. And a good score of points for Kershaw and Clark, who march on now to what I suspect is inevitably their first title. There's the podium. Stevens then confirmed another third place for him. A retirement, of course, for Ellis and Richardson. Gary Bryan fourth. Simon Gilbert, what a great ride. Lovelock again consistent from Horsepole. Ian Guy further down the order. Gray, Nichols, Jones. Russell and Parker wildcards there. They're getting better on the old Shelburne, aren't they? And Ben Holland and Lee Watson grab a final point. Ryan, your view on the incident at the chicane involving Todd?
Oh, it's difficult to say because you look back on TV and you probably see a different angle, but we went in hot, there's no doubt about it, and then just Rick tried to pull across the middle of the track, and then suddenly there was two bikes there, one side or another. So if they're going for gaps that weren't there, maybe, I don't know.
Got a great start that time. I was really pleased to get through. Steve has sharpened his pencil a bit. He rode really well and just pipped us, but we've had a great weekend, and I want to thank Will and his dad, who's no longer with us, for helping us with tyres this weekend. It's really helped us out, and thanks a lot.
We've worked really, really hard this weekend. The track temperatures have been the hottest I think they've been all year, with an abrasive surface, so we've really struggled with the 1000 with grip, and we worked really hard as a team overnight, and it made a difference today, as it showed. We had a grip for longer through the race, and we were able to get to the front and gap them this time. So yeah, really, really happy with that.
Well, that's amazing, isn't it? I haven't done the sums fully, but I reckon a couple of podiums at Cadwell will do it for them. Sitting on top from Ellis and Bryan. Ellis not really in any danger. Stevens has left it too late in the season to grab that second spot. Horsepole a fine fifth. They're the 600 Cup. Ellis, Stevens and Brian Gray. Good on them. Well, that's it from Thurxton. It's been an absolutely fabulous weekend, weather-wise and racing-wise. Next up in 2 weeks' time, Cadwell Park. Can Kershaw and Clark wrap up the title? Who knows? Cadwell, we'll see you then. Thanks for watching.
Coming up after the break, we head to Saudi Arabia for the opening round of the FIA Formula E Championship for 2018-19, the Adiria E Prix.